Hey all, Jean here. How is everybody doing today? Yeah, you know what? Today I want to talk about, um, fear of being visible at 60, right? In your 60s or at 60 or at 50, wherever you are in your life and you're afraid of being visible. Let's tell the truth about it. Let's talk about it. Let's just admit it, right? Um, yeah. Yeah, here I am. It's a little bit, it's snowing outside today. And when I'm looking this way, there's a window there. So I'm just looking out the window, basically, which is really quite nice because it's just a nice big picture window. But it gives me light, so I like to be sitting here because it gives me light. If I turn around so you can see it, then yeah. Anyways, yeah. So I am actually not afraid of starting over in my 60s. I That is not my fear. I have never ever really been afraid of starting over in my life. It's just something I have done a lot. Like, yeah, I have sat over so many times in my life that I probably can write a book on starting over, you know. But I think the whole idea is I have been afraid of being seen, right? So I never really had any fear of starting over. I'm just afraid of being seen in certain way. And I think that has to do with um I've always portray um or I have always seen myself as the person that had all their shit together. Honestly, I really do not like it. I really do not like it when I feel like I don't have my shit together, or when I feel like other people is seeing me like I don't have my stuff together. I think that is one of my biggest kind of fear, So being seen mean that you can decide or make a assumption mainly. So it's not really a decision, more like an assumption, of whether or not I have my stuff together. And I think that fear of being seen and fear of whether I had have my stuff together didn't just stem from me at this age right now where I'm at, and I'm sure that is the same for you, right? This fear of being seen, without having myself together, like I want to be a put together person. I've always wanted to be the person that have enough money in my pocket, the person that can take care of myself, the person that is very independent, all these things I actually have embodied that in my life. I have been able to cap my insecurities and show this part of myself that was very secure, very out there, very bold, but underlying that put together, it's the fear that um you can really see me. So I've always had, in a sense, and as I say, this didn't just stem from now. In my early to mid 20s, um I in my early to mid 20s, I had a bit of a health scare in a way. I had a little bit of a breakdown, and that happened so long ago. I've been actually in an asylum. Jesus, like, why am I having a hard time saying this? I have said this so many times before. I guess all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, you're going to see me, you're going to judge me, you're going to say something. And the truth is, as I say, I'm not really afraid of starting over. The fear has to come, my fear comes with being seen, being exposed, being vulnerable, having a vulnerable vulnerability hang over the next day or the day, But okay, so in my 20s, I actually was went into a mental asylum, and not once did I think I have lost my mind, which is incredible because I haven't. I wrote a book on that, mind you. It is called Secret of an Island Girl, the year in which I lost and found my mind. It is on Amazon, and I penned it under Jean V. Roberts. So I just want to put this disclaimer in here so you know that I'm solid, right? I'm just putting in something so that you can see that I'm solid. I have written a memoir. It is called Secret of an Island Girl. It is the year in which I kind of lost and found my mind. It is written under Jean V. Roberts. And you know what? I'm definitely going to put it into the comment or the description of this video. So you know that, I'm reliable. You see, I'm so afraid that you're going to say something about me. I have to throw that out there. But it's important. And I've written this book since 2015. It is about a pocket, it's about that. It's just about just one pocket of my life, the year in which I went in and out of that asylum and what happened and why it happened. And I'm not going to tell the full story here. I've already told the full story in my book. But the funny thing you must know about even me, you know, um, writing this book, getting it edited, and putting it out into the world, putting it on Amazon. I remember the first day it came out. I actually I got interviewed by two of the newspaper out here where I live. So anyways, and one interview was a guy, and one interviewer was a woman, a young woman, and both interviews said something different. Now, on the back of my book, one of my friend had wrote something on the back of my book, and every time I see it, I feel embarrassed, right? I feel like, oh my God, like I can't believe she put that there. The book, believe me, she was one of those people that tell me my book should actually be a movie. And I still believe that. But I wrote that book at a time when it is raw and it is real. That's how I can describe my book. It's raw, it's real. When you pick it up, you don't want to put it down, and it's not a long read. It's a under 200 page. It's a really quick read, but when you pick it up, you don't want to put it down. It's raw and it's real. It's going to make you cry, and it's going to make you laugh, and it's going to make you feel a little lovey here and there. So I put a little bit of everything about what was happening at that time in my life in the book. I'm sorry if you're hearing any noise around. I don't have my little mic today because I lost an attachment for my mic, but I'll continue on in this. So a lot of the time, some of our fear, when we have fear of being seen, is because, again, I have just mentioned it. We don't want to be judged. I don't want to be judged. I don't want you to judge me, but I have no control over that. So if you want to, you can go ahead. I give you permission in a nice way, okay? In a very, very nice way. I'm giving you permission in a nice way, okay? So I don't like to look foolish. I feel like, you see how I just told you about my book because I told you I had a mental breakdown in my early 20s. People, I am in my 60s. That was more than what, 40 years ago? Like really and truly, it was 40 something at least years ago. But I'm still feeling like I'm not going to be taken seriously if I say that, if I out myself, but it's already out there. I've already written a book about it. It took me 25 years before I can even write the book. You know what I mean? It took me a long time from the time it happened to even writing the book. And then that took a long time. And maybe we will talk about that another time as well, right? But those are the things. And actually also being dismissed, especially being 60. You can dismiss me. I feel, as a matter of fact, I do already recognizing how I'm being dismissed in a very subtle way out in the world, you know. It's only after I'm like, oh, this has to do with my age. And I really do not like the word ageism, because when that word come up, I'm like, what the hell? You know, because it's the same when, you know, racism used to come up for me. I really didn't like the word racism. So I used to avoid it, right? But now I don't. And so ageism is something that is coming up, and I'm avoiding it because it feels very shameful. It feels very, oh, I'm a victim. You know, just imagine if you stand up to someone and say, hey, I didn't get the job because of my age. That is shameful. That feels shameful. It doesn't have to be. We can kind of, you know, do something about it, but it doesn't have to be. But those are the things that happen, right? That is what happened because we are feeling like if I mention that, they're going to say that I am, you know, I'm going to feel like I am a victim. And let's face it, us women in our 60s, we are no victim, you know, we are no victim. You know, there are a lot of things that we're hiding from right now. We're afraid, we are hiding from, you know, our gray hair. As you can tell, I am not hiding from mine, but I have braided my hair because it's very much easier to deal with in this weather that I live here with in Canada. But I haven't you know, put any black in it because I don't want to hide from my hair. I don't want to hide from my lines. But the truth is, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, who are you? Who are you in the mirror? Are you the same person I know? Are you the same vital, vibrant, excited, kick-ass woman that I know? Which remind me, um, I used to call my life coaching business kick ass. You know, honestly, kick ass life coaching business, and I just realized that now. You know, there was a time when I used to live in this. I wanted to kick people ass because there was so many things that they doing that they like I am doing now. You know, sharing with you like, why are you hiding? I want to hide, you know, being visible, you know. I tell you, I even living in this country here, I used to live in a mass, you know, I used to live in a mass. I didn't even know that I was invisible to my own self until I became visible to myself. Make that make sense, right? I know it sounds really like, what are you talking about? What are you saying? But you who I'm talking to, you know what I'm talking about and you know what I'm saying. You know, we hide who we are from ourselves, not only from the people that we go to work with or the people that we come home to or the people that we are friends with. We hide who we are. You know, I remember when I just started to live out here in Banff, Alberta, and as a black woman, and believe me, back then, I just saw myself as a human. So let's not even talk about the black and white part of this. Again, there is shame there, there is embarrassment here, there is all of these things, you know, looking foolish, like, how come you didn't know this? But I'm talking to you, the woman who do know this, you know, I'm speaking to you because you know this, right? I had a job and I just started living out here. I didn't have any friends. I wanted a community. I've always wanted to make friends. I always wanted to have a whole bunch of women friends. And I do have that now, but I'm still wanting to have that ring and finger friend. And I think I do have that, but my ring and finger friend do not live in the same area where I live. But I do have really amazingly beautiful friends out here. But at the time, because I didn't know myself and because I was masking who I am without my own knowledge, um, I end up friends with a bunch of women that I work with. Actually, one of the women I work with, and then she had some outside friends, and the truth is, I didn't like them. And you know what? I feel like they didn't like me. But it was a time when it seems to me like they had no choice. They were being polite Canadians. Have you ever tried to be friend with someone that you don't even like? Oh God, I am outing myself here, guys. I am outing myself. But I'm speaking from experience. Speaking from the path that I have walked this path. I know what this path look like. I know what it says. So I am speaking from that place, right? Because right now I refuse to be irrelevant, you know? I refuse to be a pat on the shoulder. I refuse to be passed over. I am not going to pass over myself. But back then, when I was just trying to fit in into a community that I have never lived in, I had no friends. I am working in an environment where I was working in an environment, there was a lot of women in that environment, all white women, some of them foreign, but all of them was white. And I didn't have a problem. As a matter of fact, I didn't know that I had a problem with myself being black because I didn't have it. I was masked. I was invisible to myself. I wasn't visible to myself. And I'm not kidding you guys. I'm from a small island in the Caribbean. And when you come from a small island, I mean, tiny, tiny island, last night alone, me and my husband, my now husband, we were looking at, what is the population of Grenada? And it's 117,000 people, 117, yeah, 100 and, yeah, 100, 1,007, 117,000 people on the island. Yeah. So 100,000, 17,000 people. I don't know how to say that. Mathematics is not my thing. I should be ashamed. I should be embarrassed. I am letting myself out of the bag. And you know what? I'm not. Because you know what I'm saying. You know how I'm saying it. And you know that I am here to just tell you the truth from my perspective, obviously. Right? And from my experience, obviously, right? My lived experience and the path that I have traveled, obviously. So I am making the decision not to be uncomfortable. Well, actually, I am making the decision to be uncomfortable, right? Because visibility is uncomfortable, right? It is quite uncomfortable, and I'm choosing to be uncomfortable because that is what had allowed me to grow and grow and grow so much in my life. It has, all of a sudden, for the last couple of years, I am always in some uncomfortable situation, like doing, creating a YouTube channel at the age of 63. And I am sticking with this channel, my friends, okay? I am now on, I think today would be 58 days or 50 something days since I've been doing videos every day. And believe it or not, half the time, but I do know that we do hide as, older women. We do fear visibility. And a lot of the time, I guess sometimes we're not afraid of actually starting over, as I mentioned, earlier. We're not afraid of starting over in so many ways. But when it comes to being seen, I can tell you, we would lock ourselves up and throw away the key because we do not want to be truly seen. However, on the flip side of that, we are desperate to be seen. We want to be seen. We want to be known. We want to be understood. Especially in this day and age, especially with the people in our environment, right? So going back to just giving you a little idea of my, trying to be friends with women that really didn't want to be my friend, with women that I didn't really care, that I didn't really like, but I was too polite to not like them because they are my colleague. I'm working with them and I want to be part of the team. I want to be, I want to be on the team. I want to be part of the team, right? And so haven't you, I'm going to ask you this question, wasn't there a time, or is there a time, or is it still happening where you so much wanted to be a team player that you try to be friends with people that you don't even like, and people that you know they don't like you, but you're trying to be friends. Or have you ever tried to be friend with someone that do not want to be your friend? Oh my God. I don't even know how to express and explain this, but I know you know what I'm saying and what I'm talking about, because it is such a thing. It is just, yeah, it is a thing. Please note, I no longer do that shit. If I don't like you, I don't like you. I don't try to like you. I don't try to be a friend. I don't want to be a friend. I wouldn't even talk to you. I probably wouldn't say hello. If I do, that is because I'm being polite. I wouldn't make small talk just because you are being small talk to me. I don't like small talk, so I no longer make small talk with people. I listen to people make small talk, and I'm like, I don't have to make small talk because it's not what I like. It's not who I am. It's not, I don't care for it. And I'm okay listening to other people do it, but I don't care for it, right? But there was a time when I would do it because it says that I'm going to fit in. Anyways, here is the what I'm going to declare for you guys today. Visibility is uncomfortable, but so is shrinking, both of them. So visibility is uncomfortable, but so is shrinking. Both of them is uncomfortable. When you shrink who you are, it is the shitters. It is terrible. It's never nice. When you are seeing, even these days when I go to the supermarket, I live in a small town, I try to hide from people I don't want to be seen by, and sometimes I meet them in the next aisle and I have to say hello, although I'm hiding. How can I hide? I cannot even hide. And I live in a very colorful, very white neighborhood. Really, really. This is not offensive. Please don't take it that way. I call myself black, you call me black, and so therefore, I have to name a thing, right? So sometimes I'm hiding from my neighbors or whatever, and then they see me, and and it's all uncomfortable because I don't want them to see me, but they see me, and we do this uncomfortable little small talk. How is the weather? Do you like the snow? Do you like, do you play in the snow? Do you go skiing? But the smallest talk, the one that I really, really don't like, it's about the weather. But now I know that I'm always talking about the weather here too, and I don't want to do that. But anyway, visibility is uncomfortable, and so is shrinking. They both uncomfortable. So for me, what I'm choosing, I am choosing the uncomfortable path because uncomfortableness is growth, and I'm choosing to grow. So I'm going to show up here on this YouTube channel and do my retirement thing. I'm going to talk to you. You're going to talk to me, and we're going to have some fun. And here is the kicker. I'm going to tell you, do less, be more. But let's tell the truth, right? Let's just tell the truth. I'm just loving this. Let's tell the truth. Let's do that as we go about. So don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I will be so grateful because you are going to be helping me as I take this journey on these streets, and I'm so grateful for that. Thank you. I am still learning lots of new things, and one of them I'm learning is how to edit. And guys, I'm just terrible at it, but I'm taking my time. So I'll talk to you guys soon, right?